and there is a lot to talk about. And yes, we're going to get to Tony Luciano. You know Luch, you know him, you love him. But there is a certain fan base that I understand that he does not love because they have not loved him back because of his choice of the team that he wishes to cheer for, which was a big moment last night, by the way, during the lottery draft. The Magic bingo balls, they fell in favor of the Buffalo Sabres. Ironically, just 24 hours before, I talked about how much I enjoy going to Buffalo and how I'm going to take David Bastl there against his own will. And I said, I don't want the nice David Bastl. I want DJ Styles to come to Buffalo with me. And lo and behold, today, as we talked about the Belmont with Tony Luciano, I believe he has something he would like to address to a certain fan base.
Well, Michael, first, thank you. And David, thank you as well for giving me this platform.
Oh.
First of all, Leaf fans have been ridiculing me all year, as you can imagine.
That's
all
terrible.
my Leaf buddies.
That's terrible.
That's 18, yes, 18 losses. I get it. They had a horrible season. 31st, haven't made the playoffs in 10 years. But as you know, Sebastian Maniscalco would say to my Leaf, what I'd like to say to my Leaf fan is, aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you embarrassed? 5 years in a row? You know, they go, oh, Sabres haven't been in the playoffs for 10 years. Well, you know what? At least I've won 4 rounds since the strike lockout of 2004. So I'm still up 4 series to 0 series to Leaf fans. I'm sorry that you went through this torture. And listen, getting back to Steve Simmons, I got the chance to know Steve when I worked at the Financial Post, and Steve was in the same building at the Toronto Sun. And the one thing I will say about him is he's, like you said, Mike, he's not afraid to ask the tough questions. And David, you've been a beat reporter before, so you know how difficult that job can be. But, you know, this whole lollygagging or pussyfooting around these athletes has got to stop. Like, seriously, you would never get, you know, the old guys like Milt Dunnell or George Gross or any of these guys who were legends back in, you know, in the day of sports journalism would not be afraid to ask these questions. Everyone's like just throwing them softballs, and that's got to stop.
You know, it's a watered down industry right now, because what you're seeing in a press box is bloggers, kids podcasts, some guy that writes for the local community paper, almost, but not quite. Everybody that can turn on one of these from a Best Buy and hook it up to a computer is all of a sudden a Leaf insider. Some of them are fantastic, but guess what? When there's 10,000 of them out there, there's only 1% that are very good.
Right.
And that's the thing, right? It's cupcake. No. You almost get the feeling that when you go to one of these things now, as soon as the press conference is over, it's like, could you sign this, Austin? Could you and make it out to Dave? B?
So true, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
another
you're
Dave
right.
B, not this day. But let me jump onto that too, Dave, because you've covered in every NHL city there is. People keep saying in this market, right, that this is a tough town to play in and this is a tough media to deal with. I'm like, are you serious? Have you been to some of those other markets? Okay, so if this were, okay, and Dave, you can just rhyme them off because you know more than I do. Number one, when things go south in Montreal, try dealing with their press or someone from La Presse, because they'll go through your garbage to find it, right? Montreal, try dealing with that. New York. So go through Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is another one. But New York, I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason it's called the Bronx Cheer, right? They came up with a whole cheer, the Bronx Cheer, because how tough it is to play in that market in New York, right? Like there's a lot of cities, like you said, Philadelphia. My God, those fans will not give you a chance for sure. Toronto,
and neither is the media. See, they think the media is tough here in Toronto. Going, the media, Steve Simmons is the only one who's like the equivalent of Brooksy. Right. I mean, I guess that would be the only one, but I think that what has been created on the Leafs team is a reflection of how the GM sees hockey at the NHL level. My problem with that is I don't think it's a fit. I know he wants to win that way, but there's a lot of not great ways of describing how they play. And Dave, I think number one thing I'd say is when you get called a junior hockey team, you want to win playing junior hockey. And you know what? Are we wrong on this? Because I didn't see a difference. That's how I kind of see the team. It's kind of how I see the team.
Listen, there's no
That's-
doubt, Mike, they have talent, Toronto, but they just, I don't know, they just don't have that killer instinct like they talked about yesterday. Shanahan says, well, we got to go out to get a guy with, some killer instinct. Well, you know what? It's been 5 years. The Shana, as I call it, the Shana Sham has been going on for 7 years now, and it's not working. So,
But one tough guy with grit, your team
Anyone.
your team has to adopt that.
Look
Your
at the
team has
Islanders,
to
Mike.
adopt that.
The Islanders are a
Wow.
perfect example. I mean, 5 wins with Lou Lamoriello, 5 series wins. I mean, this guy's building, some great players like Casey Cizikas. He's a fourth liner, and the guy is unbelievable. Corrali in Boston, another guy is a fourth liner who brings a lot of energy and grit. And Toronto's missing that. And I don't know if they're ever going to get it. I really don't. And they, like everybody's been saying, they had no sense of pushback whatsoever in the last 3 games. So I mean, they showed it again last night how tough Montreal could play. Like their coach Deschamps said, they're built for the playoffs, and Winnipeg found that out last night. Right, that was a tough game, and maybe Winnipeg was a little lulled to sleep from being off for so long. And this series, this series is going to have a lot of excuse my French, piss and vinegar, because it will.
Yeah. No, Dave, and you can speak to this. No other game in the series will look like the one last night. That was the one off.
Yeah, I think it was. And it was, and you know what, by the way, people listening this morning, we'll address the Mark Scheifele hit coming up soon. So we haven't forgot about it. Don't worry. I got a lot to say about it. Lucc, let's get to the Belmont here, just because we only have a couple of minutes here.
Sure.
And obviously we did touch the number one story of the day, but Belmont on Saturday. How do you break this race in New York down? And is there anybody we should see that we're not anticipating, considering there's a lot of contenders for this and it looks a little wide open to me?
Yeah, because you've got Essential Quality as the favorite back in from the Kentucky Derby. He was a Kentucky Derby favorite. Ran a great race. I think ran fourth. He was coming on at the end. So he's obviously the odds-on favorite. Obviously the Preakness winner, Rombauer, is back in it. And I still like him a lot. But again, at the short price, it's going to be tough to go against him as well. So those two horses are going to be up at the top. You got a horse like Rock Your World, who is a speed merchant, but at 1.5 miles, that's a tough grind at 1.5 miles to be a front runner all the way at Belmont. Again, the fractions are going to determine the half mile. If you get it in 46, 47, that's pretty fast for 1.5 miles, and that's where I love my horse that I loved in. If you remember in the Kentucky, I took a horse by the name of Known Agenda, and he was running out of the number 1 hole with Erad Ortiz on it. It's a Todd Pletcher horse. Todd's got 3 horses, so 2 long shots, and then Known Agenda as well. I like Known Agenda. He's going to be my top pick.
Yeah, that looks good. You know what? That looks. I'm just looking at that. Look, this is your area, not mine.
Yeah.
But as I'm looking at the breakdown, going, ooh, geez, that Known Agenda looks like it's a little dangerous horse there.
Yeah, and he got pinched back to 18th at the start. Like, he had to get a little bit further up from coming from the 1 hole at the Kentucky Derby. So I think that horse to me is the horse. There's a couple of long shots: Rebels Romance, Bourbonic, which is another Pletcher horse, Overtook, which is the other Pletcher horse. So France Godina, which is the super long shot, I give him no shot whatsoever with these horses. But if I have to go 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go with Known Agenda first, Rombauer second, and Essential Quality third. And again, those are quite interchangeable. So I don't think there's a lot of money to make this weekend, but I still think it'll be an exciting race. Only 8 horses. I was hoping for more, but the story to me coming out of this weekend or this week so far is a 2-year suspension of Bob Baffert from the Churchill Downs. Yeah. And so that now, yes, he got, they proved the second specimen came back positive as well. So that's going to put a big pall over the Churchill Downs racing circuit for sure.
No, very interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, the race itself is it going to be one of the best Belmont Stakes? Yeah, probably not. But I think those 3 horses will give us a run, though. I really do. I think it's going to be pretty exciting, those 3.
What's the weather? Do we know what the weather's going to be like this weekend?
Yeah, it's raining in New York today and tomorrow, but Saturday they're calling for sun, so the track should be dry.
So similar to what we're seeing right here, right now, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Lucc, I should tell you that we're just receiving some breaking news that Owen Power has requested a trade already.
That's tough news. That's tough. That's very early, Dave. It's very
but he hasn't even been drafted yet, though.
6'6", playing at Michigan, 18 years old.
From Mississauga.
From Mississauga,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Big kid, so he's going to be close to home. Will he go? I mean, I'd love to see him in a Sabres uniform, obviously. But Buffalo could end up trading that pick. And, you never know. You can get back a first and maybe someone maybe they go to Columbus and try to get a guy like Seth Jones, who does not want to stay in Columbus, from my understanding. So what's wrong with that? I'd love to get a Seth Jones on my defense to work with Darlene. I think that would be awesome. Right. Yeah. So who knows, sadly, yes, the Sabres are going to have it tough again next year, being back with Montreal, Tampa, Boston, Toronto, and even a surging Ottawa team.
Florida.
Let's not forget Florida, how good they are. And that's why we even say the Leafs. I think the Leafs are going to have a hard time next year if they don't go out and get some changes, make some changes. I really do, especially like you said, Florida, Boston, Tampa. They're all going to be tough again next year. So.
See, and that's the reality of where the Leafs are living right now is, regardless of what they do, they're going into a real hard time next year because everybody is up their game. They're playing so well. Just to get out. I mean, man, I'll tell you that they're in either, it's funny. And it was, I think it was Jacques Lemaire years ago. You hear him talking about this. This is when he's coming to Calgary. He's coaching in Minnesota at the time. And he was hearing all the fan base talk about how disappointed they were with certain things with the Calgary Flames. And I was just in the room at the same time. He goes, do people know how hard this league is? Because do they really think they should, just because they want to be in first place, they should just be in first place?
Yeah, no kidding.
And that's the reality of what's going to happen next year, because there were times where the Panthers were down. These teams, start going through all the teams that were down. No one's going to be down. I mean, this is sort of like when you have to live in the world of the American League East. When the Yankees are playing well, when the Bull Sox are playing well, when Tampa Bay is playing well, it's just what you got. That's your division, and it's not going to change. So guess what? Regardless of the changes the Leafs make, they're going to do some hard time next year. So if you can't play hard, well, it's going to get even worse for you, buddy.
Yeah,
worse for you.
It's going to be good. It's going to be exciting, guys.
Lucc, great job today, as always. Love seeing you, fratello mio. It is maybe shortly we get to see people face to face. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, like I said, I might have to kidnap both of you and take you to Buffalo to watch a game.
Oh, I'll go.
I know you will. And David, maybe when Winnipeg's back in Buffalo, I'll get you by the arm and.
You have a better chance.
Okay, we'll go, and then afterwards we'll go to Kelly. We'll go to Kelly's Corners. Kelly's Corners with the best beef on weck in Buffalo. Yeah, for under $10.
Well, listen, guys, thanks again. Really appreciate this. I always loved coming talking horses, a little hockey, and you guys continue doing a great job. And David, I'll look forward to hearing what you say about Mr. Scheifele.